Imagine this. You're scrolling through the news and see crude oil prices crash globally, but when you check your local petrol pump, the prices are still the same, or even higher. So why does this happen? Why don't petrol and diesel prices in India fall when crude oil becomes cheaper in the international market? Today, let's break this mystery down, not in boring textbook style, but in a simple, storytelling way that both UPSC aspirants and curious minds will enjoy. First, let's understand what crude oil is. Crude oil is the raw material, black, sticky liquid, that countries import. India imports around 85% of its crude oil needs. But crude oil itself is not what you use. It goes through a refining process, becomes petrol, diesel, LPG, kerosene, and other fuels. So the price of crude in the international market definitely matters, but is it the only factor? Not at all. Here comes the real game. In India, petrol and diesel are heavily taxed. Central excise duty state VAT, in value-added tax, dealer commission. At times, almost 60% of what you pay at the petrol pump is just taxes. So even if crude oil prices fall globally, the government doesn't always pass on the benefit. Why? Because fuel is one of the biggest sources of revenue for both the center and states. Think of it like this. For the government, fuel taxes are like a guaranteed income, rain or shine, crisis or boom. Now you might wonder, why doesn't the government just reduce taxes when crude prices rise and pass on the savings when crude falls? Well, here's the tricky part. India spends a lot on subsidies, infrastructure, defense, and welfare schemes. When crude is cheap, instead of reducing your petrol bill, governments often use that extra money to fund schemes or reduce fiscal deficit. It's like if you suddenly started earning extra pocket money. Instead of saving it all, you might use it to clear old loans or buy that smartphone you've been eyeing. For the government, this balancing act is critical. Another hidden villain here is the exchange rate. India buys crude in US dollars. So even if crude prices fall, if the rupee weakens against the dollar, our import bill doesn't really reduce much. For example, crude might fall from $80 to $70 per barrel. But if the rupee slips from 70 to 77 per dollar, the benefit is wiped out. So fuel prices in India are not just about crude oil. They are about international crude prices, rupee-dollar exchange rate, central plus state taxes, government's revenue needs. This is why you'll often see headlines like crude crashes 30% globally, but petrol still 100 plus in India. And for UPSC aspirants, this is a classic GS3 economy topic. It connects international trade, fiscal policy, taxation, and everyday life in one story. So next time someone complains at the petrol pump, you can explain the entire economics behind it. For aspirants, remember UPSC doesn't just test your memory, it tests whether you can connect economics to real life. If you found this video useful, do support the channel with a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more economics plus UPSC plus storytelling videos. Because here, we make complex topics simple and useful not just for exams, but for life.